If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You're listening to It's All Good, Magic, Mysticism, and Earth Medicine. Visit us anytime at our new website, magic-and-medicine.com. And that's magic with a K. I'm your host, Dr. Candace Nadine Green.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Magic and Medicine. Before I begin, I'd just like to say a few things. It's been a little bit of a tough time for my family and me lately in regards to some issues that we've been facing as Black people in our community. But we're getting through it, and we're persevering. We're not running away. We're persevering, not running away. And I'm going to continue doing what I do. So today we're going to talk about community and ritual. And you'll notice that it will pertain to the African culture. And the resource that I used to gather information for this podcast is from the book Healing Wisdom of Africa by Malidoma Patrice Somé. So I'll put that in the show notes as well, so you can get that book and find out more for yourself. When we talk about ritual, people think that it has to be this set, cut and dry thing, that it has to be a certain way. But I'm going to talk about what makes up rituals, and you'll see that it's very flexible as well. There are symbols. Symbols are involved in ritual. Symbols are the doorway to ritual, because our psyche cannot sustain itself without symbolism. Symbolism connects us with the spirit world, and it causes us to be aware of the spirit world as well. Because remember, the spirit world doesn't operate like we do. We have words and certain things that have meanings. Well, there's a lot of symbolism in the spirit world. I know when I'm doing readings, when I'm doing intuitive messages, I tell people ahead of time that the way spirits communicate, the way the spirit world communicates with us is not the same as the way we communicate in the physical world, the material world. There's a lot of symbolism that needs to be interpreted. I don't know why that spirits communicate that way. They just do. But there is quite a lot of symbolism involved. Like, the color, when I say to people, I see the color green, I see this, I see that. They're communicating in a way that it makes sense to the person who is receiving the message. So certain things may represent certain things to a certain individual. They may not all be the same. What I think one certain symbol means may not mean what the person who is sitting will interpret it as. So that's why I tell them the messages are for you, not for me. So I'm telling you what I see, and you interpret them the way they mean to you, because your spiritual team already knows what the message, what you interpreted things to be, to mean, and that's why they show it to me that way. And let's go back to rituals. Rituals are activities, things you do that evoke our emotional self. It touches our emotions. It brings out that emotional self. It is the most ancient way of binding a community together. It's the most ancient way of community connectedness and a close relationship with spirit. Something missing today. Every time there is a gathering of people under the protection of spirit, there's a, there it there's a trigger. There's a trigger. It triggers a body of emotional energy that's aimed at bringing the community very tightly together. And there's a ritual of one type or another that's in effect. Rituals are not are repetitive or compulsive behavior, not at all. It's gathering with others in order to feel the call of spirit, to express spontaneously and publicly whatever needs to be expressed, to create in concert with others an unrehearsed and deeply moving response to spirit, and to feel the presence of the community, of everyone in the community, including the ancestors throughout the experience. I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. This past weekend, there was a beautiful community event held to support my family and me because we've been victims of hate in the community. And it was just a gathering of people in the community, of Black Lives Matter people and other people getting together to show support. They were talking, they were speaking. I mean, it was COVID time and it was freezing outside. So we were there and there was support. And I felt that love. The community was gathering together to express their love. That was beautiful. That seeing the community pull together for a common cause to show support, it makes you feel like you're not alone anymore, that you're not fighting the battle, dealing with the issue on your own. And that's the attitude from ancient stemming from ancient African communities. What they get together, even when which ritual is involved, the community come together for a common cause. Someone in the village could have been sick or had bad bad vibes, or for lack of a better word, bad energy put on them and their family, and the community get together to ritualistically get rid of the bad energy and to show support and love for that member of the community. And that's what my family and I felt a couple of days ago. I mean, this podcast is not going to be published until March, but the day I'm talking about, I'm recording this on February 16th, and the event happened February 13th. It was Valentine's Day weekend, so that was a weekend of love. And the community pulled together and, in their own ritualistic way, to show support. I mean, there was people of all different colors and walks of life, but they were getting together, just like people did in the ancient African communities, to support a member, a family of the community that has had that's experiencing bad energy, and showing them that they support them, that they love them. And in this case, my family was the family, and we're deeply grateful for it. Rituals, even any type of gathering, community coming together, calls for spontaneous feeling and truth in the outcome. There is truth in the outcome. When people get together in a ritual format, or get together, when I just, if you're trying to make it fit to today's meaning, think of, gathering, community coming together. When this community comes together for a common cause, and in the African village, it was for ritual. It was that sacred space that that space they occupy becomes sacred space, and The space becomes a place. I'm getting my words crazy today. That space becomes a place of safety where people can just have these ecstatic emotions, uh, safely express themselves, and no undesirable side effects, supposedly. Because ritual is so deeply connected to our human nature, anytime it is missing, there will be a lack of transformation and healing. Anytime a person in a community does not receive the support from their community, there's no coming together and there's no healing. That person, that family is still suffering. Now, ritual is a dance with the spirit, with the divine, what we cannot see. Is the soul's way of interacting with the other world and calling upon the help and aid by many voices in the community, calling upon the help, the aid of that, the unforeseen, of the divine, of spirit, that other world, calling all of them, uniting together in one voice and calling for there to be help, calling upon higher powers to come and help, ancestors, anyone to come and help the community, the person, the community. It could be the person, the family, the community in general, just to come down, to come and help. It's the human psyche's opportunity to develop a relationship with the symbols of this world and the spirits of the other. It's a combination. The spirits communicate through symbol, and they show that to us, so we know what we interpret it, however it means to us. Now, the appeal to the ancestors through ritual, this appeal to the ancestors through ritual, is based on an understanding that catastrophe does happen when we fail to seek their guidance. And if we don't seek their guidance when catastrophe happens, we will still be in catastrophe or in catastrophic in a catastrophic state. And doing a ritual before a catastrophe is like preventing the self from falling into destructive patterns. So you don't just call when you need help. You ever have a relative say that to you? Don't just call when you need something. And it's true. If you want a way to develop and nurture a relationship is to call just because you love them. It's the same thing with ancestors and the divine and spirit. Talk to them all the time, not just when you need help. Imagine if someone did that to you. That's annoying, isn't it? It is. For a ritual to be a ritual, the spirit, the divine, ancestors, or any allied forces from a world different from ours must be present to guide and to move the ritual into the right direction. Spirits come when they are invited. Those who are, good spirits, of course. When you leave the door open for them, they come in. And they come with a lot of friends, distant relatives, and their friends. So they don't just come by themselves. They bring a whole bunch of people to help you. Now, there's usually 4 parts of a ritual. You got to prepare the ritual space. Okay, that's, loaded with symbolism. And you have to have the invocation, the calling, right? You got to invoke the spirit, call upon, you need help. I need help. And there's healing. The healing may not take part, healing may not happen right away, but there is the potential for healing. It's important to the success of the ritual. How do you know the ritual was successful? Because there was healing. There was a solution. Okay. There was a healing. There was a solution to the problem. And then you have the closing of the ritual. And I'm going to post an article on the website, magicandmedicine.com, magic-and-medicine-.com, very shortly. In regards to the different makeups of the ritual. And instead of going into detail, too much detail with it this on this podcast, I'll talk a little bit after this break about what do you call it? Excuse me. About um, the important some of the parts of the ritual, like the invocation. Talk about that and what it entails. But if you want a detailed one, just look on the detail. There's a nice article that will be. I hand wrote it out. I didn't post it yet. There will be an article about the importance of ritual and certain makeups of the different parts of a ritual as well. Like I'll explain some things so you can look at that very shortly. But right now, we're going to take a quick break.
Mystic Queen Mother offers various spiritual services virtually. Now you can be anywhere in the world and receive intuitive readings, divination and consultation sessions, and even remote video intuitive readings via email. Your sessions will always include spiritual guidance and messages from your ancestors and spiritual team. My prices are reasonable and affordable. You can even book and pay safely and securely right online. Once you book, you'll get a link via email for your session. Visit magicandmedicine.com and click the Services tab in the menu to learn more. That's magic-and-medicine.com. Oh, and don't forget, that's magic with the K. magicandmedicine.com.
Okay, we're back after that short break. And just going to refresh for you the 4 parts review again for you, the 4 parts of the ritual. We have preparing the ritual space, the invocation, healing, and the closing. You can also say healing is, if you want to put it in terms of today, a solution. We'll talk about the invocation part of the ritual. The invocation part of the ritual, in that part, we acknowledge the fact that music's getting loud, that we are almost helpless in the face of illnesses or problems that cripple us. So it is the opportunity to show how humble we are or are willing to be, and how we are willing to allow spirits to intervene and help us out. So we have to be humble. We have to be a bit humble. Okay. So there must be a total willingness to put aside preconceived ideas about what the outcome of the ritual should be. Okay. We're not in control. It's not about us. We asked for help and the help is coming. We sit down and be quiet, basically, with no restrictions placed beforehand on the range of possible outcomes. If you ask for help, help is coming, and don't try to put any restrictions on it. It may not happen the way you want it to happen, but it's going to happen. And it does happen for the best. It does. If you're asking to be healed of blah, 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 then you will be. Or if you're asking for a solution to a community problem, it will happen. Maybe not the way we want it to, but the ultimate outcome there will be a solution. It will be answered, but it may not look the way, it may not have happened. What led up to it happening may not be what we thought it would be. Okay. We can't control every detail. Now, and why? Because it allows the open mind necessary to hear and see whatever is revealed in the course of the ritual, with the willingness to do whatever it takes to bring about healing. Okay. Not putting restrictions or restrictions on how things are, not trying to be in control of the way the problem is solved, allows the open mind necessary to hear and see whatever is revealed in the course of the ritual, the way the ritual happens, with the willingness to do whatever it takes to bring about the healing or the solution. When you have sincere invocation of spirit, you're really sincere about calling the spirit. And then when I say spirits, I don't just mean the divine. I'm talking about ancestors, our guides, those spiritual team, those who will come to help us. The sincere invocation of spirit and the subsequent surrender of the ritual process to spirit suggest that whatever happens will be determined by spirit. Whatever happens, the way it's going to happen is determined by the spirit, by the ancestors. We're not in control of that. And we must understand that the purpose of the ritual cannot be achieved by us alone. We do not have the skills or knowledge to do it all by ourselves. Ritual is an activity for change. It promotes change in something. So what you're doing this activity, you're coming together with the community to promote change, and you're asking for help from higher powers. Some people like to say higher powers. I like to say ancestors. And some people say divine. And no, when I say ancestors, I'm not replacing ancestors with God. Right? There's more than one spirit that can help us. And those of us, especially those of us with our roots, with African roots, we need to connect with our ancestors because they know the old ways and they can teach us. And they definitely always protect us. They want good for us. So when we ask them for help, they're going to help us, provided that we haven't ignored them. Okay, we can't just call upon them when you need help. You have to honor them and all the time. It doesn't mean worship them. It means thank them and thank them for the path they walked to get us here. Thank them for the sacrifices they've made. Remember them. Remember them. So it's very important. So when we need help, there won't be a moment of hesitation. We won't get admonished for just coming around when you need help. Okay? Come around all the time, not just when you need something. And in order for there to be change, there must be both spirit presence and intervention in the ritual. How does spirit get there? Call upon them. If you don't talk to spirit and ancestors before this problem, they may not come. Well, they may come and sort of look at you like, now you want to talk to us. Okay. No. Don't just call when you need help. Don't just call when you need help. Call all the time. The invocation part, I like stressing how important that is, because without that you don't have the ritual, because you can't have it with just you and your friends. All right, or you and the members of your community. You have to have spirit present there, the ancestors, the divine, whomever, there with you. So you have to call upon them, and if they don't come, then that's your fault for not honoring them before this problem. So start now. If you haven't started already, start now. Start talking to them, praying to them, asking them to teach you, show you the way, or be present in your lives. So thank them for their sacrifices, not just in the bad times, but in the good times too. So in order for there to be change, spirit has to be there, and there has to be spirit and the intervention of spirit in the ritual. The invocation part of the ritual relieves the community or person who is conducting the ritual from the painful task of having to decide what comes next in the ritual. Okay, spirit will take over. It brings the community together for a common cause or purpose, and it promotes change. Now, to learn more about the importance of community, about the importance of ritual and the community and healing and rituals, check out the book that I mentioned earlier. I'll try to put it in the show notes. It's called The Healing Wisdom of Africa by Melodoma Patrice Some. That's all I have today to talk about in regards to community and ritual. And I thank you all for listening. And I encourage you to try to start communicating now instead of waiting for something bad to happen. Keep an eye on the website. The article that expands upon what I talked about today will also be up on the blog part of the website. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to It's All Good Magic, Mysticism, and Earth Medicine. Check us out at magic-and-medicine.com. And that's magic with a K. Thanks for listening.